It's the start of a new season, and while optimism brims for every team in the Penda Point Series chase, there are those who are chomping at the bit, eager to erase last year's unbearable showing. Then there are individuals hoping to continue riding the crest of newfound success discovered at the end of last season. But for one, opening day jitters are coupled with career concerns because this is day one on the job, where just maintaining the status quo makes you a prisoner of past success. Today on Trucks and Tractor Power, we feature the best in MTRA monster truck racing. From the RCA Dome in downtown Indianapolis, it's the Monster Truck Thunder Drags. It's a brand new racing season. This is stop number one on the Penda Points Championship. Hi everybody, I'm Gary Lee and welcome to Trucks and Tractor Power. You know, this ushers in a brand new era in monster truck racing. We'll call it AB, after Brass. Andy Brass, a longtime perennial favorite and champion, the driver of the Bigfoot racer, no longer driving, but he is still involved in monster truck competition. A new format this year will see the fastest two losers of round one going against each other in round two. And also, as in any new season, you need a program to know the players and the trucks. And joining us once again this year, my longtime broadcasting colleague, here's Army Armstrong.
Well, Gary, the era of AB, Andy Brass, may be over, but I tell you what, I'm not going to count out the era of GD, the Gravedigger, Dennis Anderson. You can't bury this guy. Everybody wants to see him come out and run on this circuit. Well, believe me, he's here and he's running big time. As a matter of fact, he's going to get back into the round through the loser bracket. You talk about luck, he's just grinning like a Cheshire cat. That's the Gravedigger. Anderson, keep an eye on this guy. Dodge Express, Ken Deppy. The Dodge people seem to be happy as Deppy goes back with Fred Schaefer, and that combination seems to be working real good for those guys. And Chevrolet all of a sudden starts to flex this muscle this year. Where are the Fords, you say? Real simple. They had a good qualifying time. The blue Ford did, of Eric Mager, but it ain't going to work. He breaks the transmission, goes out in the first round. So right now, the Chevrolets, for the first time in a couple of years, seem to be the dominant factor in this sport. I say that knowing full well, the old Gravedigger, Chevy power. Back to you, Gary.
Well, Army, you knew this was not going to be a good night for Bob Chandler and his team when the Power Wheels Bigfoot, which would have been piloted by veteran Lonnie Childress, who was subbing for Dan Runte, had to be towed off the starting line in qualifying. Done for the night. Bright spot for the Bigfoot organization was Eric Meager, who replaces Andy Brass in Bigfoot. He was the fast qualifier, and we have some highlights from round one competition as he went up against Mark Hall in the Executioner. And Meager turned in a stellar 3.82 run, as we'll see right here. This is action from round one. But at the end of the run, he developed drive shaft problems and could not continue. So all the work on Bigfoot was down in the pit area, working on the drive shaft, and he was out of competition. And there is Kirk Dabney, the 1994 Fall Nationals winner here at Indy, looking to continue where he left off. But the Chevy of Paul Schaefer knocked him out in round one. Dabney was actually the second quick loser in round one, but he also developed some problems after the run, and another Ford could not answer the bell for round two. And that opened the door for Dennis Anderson's Gravedigger. The Gravedigger who just got eked out by Fred Schaefer in a great race. Now, once again, this is round one highlights. Fred Schaefer the far lane, Gravedigger the near lane, and look at the margin of victory for Fred Schaefer. There's the barefoot time of 4.05. Now, here's how they stack up for round two. The Executioner against Barefoot, the Monster Patrol against Sampson, Carolina Crusher, and the two fast losers, the Dodge Express and the Gravedigger. The widescreen television here in the RCA Dome as we are getting ready for round two competition. There is Mark Hall in the Executioner.
Yeah, but Hall will be going up against a guy that's trying to turn last year's luck around, the big Dodge of Fred Schaefer, the Barefoot boys.
Executioner near lane with Hall, Fred Schaefer far lane with Barefoot.
Schaefer leads when the light goes green. Hall does not, but look at the attitude that Schaefer goes over the finish line. It's a nose-down attitude. We're going to be keeping an eye on that attitude later to see if the truck is set up right.
Faster that run than the first round, but Mark Hall has a problem, and he pulls off the racetrack, so he is out of competition. Let's take you now back to opening qualifying for the toughest run we've seen so far today. Don Van Loo. Now, this is just to get into the field. Don made the show, but as we noted, was knocked out by Gary Porter in round 1. We'll have more round 2 action coming up after these messages. Welcome back to the RCA Dome in downtown Indianapolis, where Dan Patrick has teamed up with 2 of the winningest drivers in monster truck racing history as his crew chiefs. He has Gene Patterson and Andy Brass. Oh, there's a brain trust right there.
Yeah, now you talk about chemistry. Dan Patrick at one time worked for the Bigfoot organization too, so these guys know how to get along together.
Meanwhile, Paul Schaefer has looked quite impressive. The winner to face Fred Schaefer in the semis. There's the Monster Patrol of Paul Schaefer.
We said earlier about the Chevrolet seeming to be zeroing in on the problems they had in the past. Here are 2 good running Chevrolets. The question is which one of them's going to roll over and get a hold of that big bear Dodge. We got a race.
Oh, Dan Patrick first a wheelie, then he almost tips it over when it gets on his nose. An exciting ride for Dan Patrick and Sampson, 3.91 ET. And there is the Monster Patrol, Paul Schaefer's 3.94.
We're talking chassis here. Dan Patrick, I said earlier about how you set the chassis up. Well, Dan Patrick is set up to dive at the finish line. Schaefer is to fly at the finish line.
First the wheelie, then he gets over on his nose and almost tips it over. Let's go trackside, Army.
Boy, it's amazing. It looks like it's getting back to 2 basic things, chassis and clutch.
Right, Army. What we've done here is we spent a lot of time on the phone this week doing clutch combinations, finding out what to do, what not to do. It's tough when we're qualifying and racing in the same session. We would have a better advantage if we could qualify 3 or 4 hours earlier. But so now I kind of have to go in conservative, but we've got a lot of data this year on different clutch setups, gearing, and with the help of Gene and Andy Brass with me next year, I think with their years of experience, we're going to come out for blood, and them blue guys are just going to have to scratch their heads.
Another new face is Alan Pizzo in Predator. Now, he knocked out Pam Botters in Boogie Van, and Pizzo will draw veteran Gary Porter here in round 2.
It's going to be a good race. Alan is a traveling pro, has not run this circuit with us before in the past, but he's always made a good name and a good accounting for himself. People that follow the sport know about Gary Porter. What can you say? If you like Chevrolet, you got to be pulling for this guy.
Well, of course, he's a past champion of monster truck competition. He lines up in the near lane in his Chevrolet. Both are now staged.
Whoa, good
wheels
lead
up.
Porter.
Well, Porter takes the victory. He likes the longer tracks. We can really muscle that horsepower. A 3.86, and he almost takes it out the airlock here at the RCA Dome. He used every bit of shutdown area. Allen's run was a 4.09. Well, the next staging, Ken Deppy, back as driver of the Dodge Express. And the far lane, Dennis Anderson, a crowd favorite in the Gravedigger, the 1950 panel wagon. But right now, before this run, let's go back trackside and visit with Gary Porter. Army?
It looks like you Chevrolet guys got together and got them Fords in the crosshairs. That's looking good for you.
I hope so, Army. You know, the last couple of years we've been sort of down, you know, a little bit. Not running 100%, but, you know, hopefully 95 will be better for us.
I noticed a lot of the teams are working together now. You give information to them, they give information to you. That's got to help you.
That's right. That helps a lot. You know, it's not only teamwork on our trucks, but the whole team on the whole series, and that makes a lot of difference.
Okay, back to the starting line now. Round 2 competition continues with Deppy the near lane, Dennis Anderson, the Gravedigger, in the far lane, and the crowd loves to see Dennis Anderson back on the Penda Series.
Well, you know, he's always said he can run with these guys anytime. Well, that's where he gets a chance to step up and prove if he can do it or not. And listen how quiet. All these people in this building, listen how quiet they are to watch this race.
It's all Dennis. Oh! Dennis Anderson got the whole shot. Ken Deppy came back on him, but Anderson wins it with an ET of 3.91.
Yeah, but Ken Deppy comes out like a kamikaze and dives to a 4.01. So that team seems to have found the combination they were looking for, but the start is so important. Watch Anderson literally just wheels up and powers over the first jump, Gary.
First Penda race since Columbus of 1992 for Dennis Anderson. He's climbing out of his rig, and where's Army? Army?
I tell you what, the fans are going wild. And Dennis, you're walking around here with your crew like a Cheshire cat, like you got them right where you want them.
Well, we do. You know, we've been kind of easing up on the race. We had a new piece in the truck, and really I was afraid to go all out, but once it come down to the last straw, we had to go all out and give it all we had. So that last run, we were going for broke, and it paid off.
That's not only the cowboy way, that's the gravedigger way, isn't it?
Hey, that's right. I used to always flip that coin and take that 50-50 chance, you know, and sometimes we survived, sometimes we didn't. In this case, I survived, and I'll be back again.
Always aggressive, always spectacular. Stay with us. Back at the RCA Dome, we are down now to the semis. It's Dodge against Chevrolet. There is the barefoot Dodge of Fred Schaefer, and there is an accepting nod by Gene Patterson, the crew chief for the Samson truck. Dan Patrick, the Chevrolet, in the near lane.
Boy, it's amazing the drama in this building, because both of these fellas, it's been a long time since they've been this deep into the field. The new year, they both believe they got a clean slate and they both want to win.
And it's Dodge, Fred Schaefer. Hey, he's not come this far in a long time. It was a trying season last year for him, getting this season off to a good start as he knocks Dan Patrick out in the Samson truck. And Schaefer won a 378. Patrick was a 393. So the Dodge continues on. We're staging now the Carolina Crusher. This time it's Chevy against Chevy, pickup against panel. There is the Gravedigger. Let's talk now to Fred Schaefer. Fred?
Boy, it's amazing how you Dodge and Chevrolet boys seem to have found the handle tonight.
We've been changing things every round, Army, and every round we're going faster. We're looking real good for the final.
So far, it appears the Gravedigger has not been spinning his wheels, and an earlier Army took a look at how Dennis hopes to keep the rubber on the racetrack.
Gary, what you're looking at is a mark that the Gravedigger crew has put on this truck. Why they put the mark there is to watch the tire and the wheel combination, to make sure that this tire does not spin on this wheel. Now, drag racers found out many years ago that they can actually kill a tire and spin it on the rim. That's no good, especially when these tires weigh about 2,000 pounds. So, again, we're starting to see the little bitty things mount up to be the big things. That's why these guys are going quicker. They're paying attention to detail. Back to you, Gary.
Now at the starting line, Dennis Anderson and Gary Porter, the 1950 Chevy panel wagon, the Gravedigger, the far lane, the Carolina Crusher, the pickup Chevrolet in the near lane.
Two old pros, like a street fight right here. Gary Porter's not afraid of Anderson. Anderson's sitting there grinning. We told you, he thinks he's got this field covered, but Porter's got something else in his mind.
Hole shot to Porter. Porter pulled it out with the hole shot. The Chevy pickup truck, Gary Porter, at 386. Will advance to the finals. The Gravedigger, Dennis Anderson, 416. So it's Anderson going to the trailer and Porter going to the finals. Let's take a look again.
Now, you said Anderson's going to the trailer. You know where he's going? He's going outside selling T-shirts right now. He's still going to make him some money. Gary Porter, it was a good race by both trucks. Porter just have a trick on the line.
All right, let's talk to your winner. Here's Gary Porter.
Well, you and Dennis Anderson's a good friends till you pull up to the starting line. I think this win goes on your side of the ledger. It's got to make it feel good.
Yeah, it sure does. You know, me and Dennis, we got started, you know, about the same time, about 9.5 years ago with monster trucks. And, you know, we travel up and down the road with one another, but when we pull to the line, you better believe we're just out to win, you know, that race. You know, we forget our friendship when we pull to the line.
So as we get set for the finals, let's show you the winner of the tough truck competition. Joe Brazovic in the red Jeep out of Joliet, Illinois. There's Joliet Joe taking on Shane Ballard in the zebra Jeep from Springfield, Missouri. Now, adjusting the helmet and the neck strap, it was a good start for both, but Brazovic has a problem when he gets to that first right-hand turn, simply forgot to turn, Army.
Well, Joliet Joe had a problem there. Ballard in the Yipe Stripes vehicle, if you will, the zebra-type vehicle, he's starting to become kind of a cult hero here. He's out of Springfield, Missouri, follows the circuit, and with the popularity of this sport, everybody seems to know who this guy is, and he gets a thrill out of running over those jumps and whacking that big tire.
Reckless abandon. Now watch this. He almost rolls the thing over. Crowd loves it, and he goes on to the win. We're coming back with more competition. The Monster Truck Thunder Drags are part of the Special Events Performance Series, which offers a weekend of four-wheel fun. Visit the manufacturer's Midway or check out the Show and Shine competition. To find out more, contact the Special Events Promotion Company. Come see a Jamboree and Performance Series event. Welcome back. We're at the RCA Dome, and chances are you can end up on one of those big screens. Oh, the fans love seeing themselves. Well, as we were talking about the tough trucks, we could call this next run Doom in the Dome. Dave Fontanetta in the red Jeep, laying closest to you, taking on Kent Dickerson in the white Jeep. Well, clearly beaten, but watch what happens. A little extra effort at the very end is going to cost him. Now watch this. Hang on, whoops. Well, that's what a roll cage is for. Now, he's all right. This was earlier this evening. He even climbs out of the Jeep and helps him push it back over. But listen to the crowd. Oh, my. Hey, listen, that was not the only action we saw with the tough truck. We also had some wild rides with these quad runners.
And a couple of them didn't get along too well.
This is the Phantom weight, I think. Wait a minute, guys.
Hey,
this
race.
was not the competition that we came to see.
He did get a couple good shots in there.
I mean, you can break your hand hitting a helmet like that. Hey, let's go racing for the finals. We are set. Two guys who would like very much to forget about last season. And prior to these guys staging these two trucks, Army had a chance to talk with both of them.
Well, you were talking about a final. I was talking about the Chevrolets, you and Gary Porter. Boy, it's going to be a sweet race.
I think right now I got fast time, Army, and we're changing something every round. I think I go a little faster this round. I'm going to hang right in there.
Think the truck's got more in it?
I think it's got a little bit.
Well, we keep talking about everybody sharing information here. You got a chalkboard and a big smile on your face, and you're in the final. How's that make you feel?
Really good. You know, it's been a long time since I made it this far on one of these, tough series races, and I'd just like to thank, Neil Chance's converters for giving me a converter to go out here and take this punishment.
Boy, he does make a good converter because you guys are coming off that starting line.
Yeah, it really does. It's Fulton Motors, really putting out some power, going through that, the Chance transmissions and converters, and we can just keep up the pace, I think we'll be okay.
Well, he got all the sponsors, I think, mentioned there. When was the last time we didn't see a Ford in the final?
Well, Andy Brass not mentioning sponsors, unique to me. He was sitting there just grinning. It's good to see him again.
All right, Gary Porter in his Chevrolet. There is the barefoot Dodge of Fred Schaefer, winless in '94. Wouldn't he like to pick up the win here in the RCA Dome? His crew looks on. Dodge, the far lane. Chevrolet, the near lane. A Ford not even in view.
Not even in the top four this weekend. Both drivers working the lines. They respect each other. They're not going to give the other guy anything. Porter the last to go into the starting lane. Both of them coming up on the RPM now once they get staged.
Gary Porter by a fender. Gary Porter by a 1/10 of a second. There's the time, 3:64. Fred Schaefer, 3:74. 1/10 of a second. Chevrolet beats out the Dodge, and I think that speaks of what type of a competitive season we will have this year in the Penda Point Series.
Well, Chevrolet people enjoy it. You spent all last year waiting for it. It's been a long time coming. Sure got to feel good. And the Dodge boys are looking good. This is going to be a good year of racing in the monster truck world, Gary.
That's how close it was as Gary Porter takes the victory, the Carolina Crusher. He climbs out, and Army is headed that direction.
Great run. Everybody here feels good about this. Even your competitors are glad you won this thing because you've been working so hard to get the combination back.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, Army. All these competitors out here, they stick behind me. We've had a tough couple of years, and, it's just been great. I think I got a good truck. It's took me a while to come around with it. But I think we're going places.
Yeah, you're going places like a 364. That's awesome. The new torque converter's working for you. And for the first time in a couple of years, Chevrolet has a national points lead after one race. That's got to make you proud. Got to make Chevrolet awfully happy, too.
Yeah, it sure does. How could you, what kind of better way could you start a new year, taking the first win and, the truck's running good, and hopefully we can just keep on doing this rest of the year.
Well, if the first show of the year is any indication, a most competitive series for the Penda Points Championship. Look who's on top. Carolina Crusher over Barefoot Sampson, Gravedigger the Predator. Look who's missing. Bob Chandler's Bigfoot team not in the top 5. No Fords from the Bigfoot organization. Our congratulations to Gary Porter. For Army Armstrong, I'm Gary Lee. We'll see you next week on Trucks and Tractor Power. Now here's news, an exciting video release from Diamond P Sports.
Bring the excitement of mud monster truck racing into your living room with Diamond P's newest horsepower hit. Trust me, you're in there with this third strike. Shake, battle, and roll 3. It's all new and all you come to expect, from the outrageous mishaps of the monster truck racing to the raucous rampage through the mud bogs. Shake, battle, and roll 3 is a must for any and every monster truck fan in the house. Over 60 minutes of jarring and pounding, mud and mayhem, and accelerated aerobatics you don't want to miss. To get your copy of Shake, Battle, and Roll 3, call 1-800-438-8585 or send $19.95 check or money order plus $4 shipping and handling to the address shown on your screen, or charge it on your MasterCard, Visa, or Discovery card. Call 1-800-438-8585 or Shake, Battle, and Roll 3.